Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chipster? Good to see you again. We've got a packed show tonight, Chip. Just going to be you and I for an hour talking about
Weird,
stuff.
right? It's like the
It's a little
ultimate
weird.
rug
I
pull,
don't know.
Jeff. The
Another
ultimate rug
pull,
pull.
just like the other night. But we've got an amazing guest panel tonight, starting out with none other than John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan. You guys know them best as attorneys, and these guys are amazing. They are outstanding. We're going to bring them on. The panel that we have tonight, in above and beyond John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan, man, we've got a packed crowd.
Let's do it.
I don't know if we can announce them all now. We'll bring them in one by one. But Chip, I don't know if you want to give a little shout out to everybody else that's in the green room.
Hello, people in the green room. We have a lot of people. We'll bring them in. It'll be a special surprise.
Yeah, there's a special surprise. Let's kick this off.
Welcome to On the Chain.
And without further ado, let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the superstar. We called him superhero when we first met him. John Deaton is here, and none other than Jeremy Hogan. And it says Hogan again.
Hogan again.
Gentlemen, welcome.
I think it was Hogan again. Now it's Hogan again.
I changed it to an exclamation point to get the excitement.
Again.
Again.
What's up, Jeremy and John?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
It's great to have you guys. And I gotta say, just let me just say this: it's good. It was a little bit of sadness going on when you said your YouTube channel was coming to an end, Jeremy. There's a lot of sadness in the community. So do you want to just talk about that a little bit? Just maybe just comment on it.
Well, yeah, I've been spending the last 2 weeks practicing my chords. John has decided to join the band in January. I got Charles Hoskinson, the ADA guy, on board. Crypto Ben is going to be on board here soon, and we're only going to play Motley Crue songs.
Oh, okay. I was going to join, but that felt a little weird.
I hear Jeremy is very close to signing David Schwartz himself.
Holy cow.
That's awesome.
He's going to do keyboard.
If you could get Garlinghouse on lead,
yes,
lead singer, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, look at this right here. So here it is right here. This is it right here. If we could just play a little bit of this. I saw like the intro here.
Stairway to heaven.
There it is. There it is. And, so John is joining the band. This is pretty good. I'm pretty excited about this. He's
Hey, I've been riding Jeremy's coattails for 2 years. I might as well continue.
Well, here's the brilliant part about it, right? So John Deaton, John, you were talking about 2 years ago. What were you doing right around this time, just before Christmas? The holiday season's kicking off, and it's 2 years ago. Let's go back to 2020. What's going on in your world at that time?
I was just like everybody else, typical man, doing last minute Christmas shopping, figuring out what I forgot, trying to figure out what I forgot. Then I saw a tweet from Brad Garlinghouse that said something about a lawsuit was going to come down. Really wasn't that concerned about it because I figured it would just be, Ripple sold on certain specific transactions in some early years. No, I didn't really think much of it. And then on Christmas Eve, I read that massively, grossly overreaching complaint that said basically, every XRP from the beginning of time until the end of the world is unregistered security. And here we are 2 years later.
Bam, and thank God you did that, because had it not been for that, I think you changed a lot of what people thought would have happened in this case with that writ. You put that out, and then all of a sudden is this 75,000 people? Is that the right number?
Yeah, it's just about to hit 76,000. And it's great that Jeremy's here because right after I filed the writ, I got on Twitter, someone DM'd me and said, hey, some lawyer was talking about your writ. And then, of course, I was thinking, oh, God, because it's kind of an odd writ, to be honest, writ of mandamus. And I was like, okay, somebody's probably talking about how crazy I am, whatever. And, of course, Jeremy is very on point. He understood strategy, and he understood, he said, hey, the guy's going to lose, right? I don't think he's going to win. And he was right. He goes, and he was very complimentary and very kind about it. And so I was like, okay.
Sometimes in the law, you got to lose to win. and
Right.
it's a real thing.
And so, and then that's how Jeremy and then I just like reached out to him and said, hey, thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it. And, you know, I don't think neither one of us could have envisioned what the next 2 years was going to look like.
Imagine
what-
2 years. 2 years ago, we were sitting, you know, having this conversation, as this all got kicked off. And man, I think, I think back, John, to the first conversation that we had with you. We brought you on, and, definitely there was no idea, no notion of 2 years forward. I think at that time we were forecasting about a year, maybe, 6 to 8 months, and it was going to be over and done with. 2 years. And but you know what? What's crazy about it all is that it seems like it was meant to be, the last 2 years, and it's revealed a lot. We've had a lot of other difficulties, in and around the world and in the US, and we've got to know a heck of a lot about the law, and how these types of cases unfold. And I want to say, us being the entire, community, has had a really amazing insight into all of this. And hopefully, this is all for the best. I mean, how do you guys look at this? Jeremy, if you look now, you think back 2 years ago, and here we are today. Is this really been all for the best? Are we in for a great 2023?
You really do feel, looking back on it from where we are right now, that something is leading to some kind of culmination. I'm sure Blockchain Backer has a way. Oh, did I just give away who might be backstage?
Blockchain Backer.
Blockchain Backer.
I was gonna do his voice. Hello, everybody. The Blockchain Backer.
I'm sure there's a technical analysis where don't you feel like everything's kind of leading to some kind of culmination that's coinciding with the end of this case, with the FTX collapse and all the legislation that's been proposed? You feel like it's all coming to a head, don't you? I just get that feeling. And when I step back and think about it, you could just almost see it all leading to some point in time in the near future, which is either very scary or very exciting. Kind of depends which way it goes. Just kind of like a technical analysis, right? Where it can break up or it can break down. And we're going to find out in the next couple months. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
Yeah, if it breaks the way we hope, then it's almost like with FTX and the way this market has been, and Celsius and Voyager and everything. It's like, all you see is this cloud of dust from all the buildings collapsing, but then we, coming out of it, maybe a good positive result in this case will lead us into, not necessarily a bull market, but just more sensible regulation. I think everybody wants regulation. We just want smart regulation, right? And we want to end this regulation by enforcement and spending all of the effort of the government on non-fraud cases like the Ripple case, the library case, or any other case. And so hopefully this case will be the beginning of a new era where utility leads the way.
Yeah, agreed. And, I mean, it was funny because Brad Garlinghouse brought it up. He said that 99% of crypto will fail. And he's probably onto something. I mean, there's I thought there was 6,000. Someone said there was well past 6,000 actual cryptocurrencies, but I guess use case is going to more or less lead the way. And it's weird that the first time in history, the US is really trying to keep up the rear, because it's not really, the US is the only place that has this issue. So, and the red team's taken over in January. We'd heard Tom Emmer talk about the new day was coming, and we're like, we're going to hold you to this new day. Don't just think you get the new day. We're going to hold you, right? The whole community is going to kind of hold people. But if, Jeremy, let me ask you this question. When you first started covering this, did you think, that you become such an important voice? Because I even heard John say that. He's like, you know what? Jeremy said he just put it so eloquently. He broke down what I said in a beautiful way. Did you think that channel would blow up and you'd be such an important voice?
I had no idea whatsoever. I was making videos about winning your small claims case and about bankruptcy and just law in general. And I had about 1,000 people watching my videos. And I did, it's just something I was interested in. I saw the lawsuit come down. I was like, this is interesting. This is kind of an interesting thing. I did a video on it. And I remember we got 15,000 views in that video. And we're like, wow, that's 20 times, as much interest as my normal video. But yeah, looking back on it, it's just amazing how your life can change, just by doing one thing one day. And then it's kind of taken me in a completely different direction, which has been kind of an amazing journey. And hopefully it'll continue. But, what was a hobby has become, like a part-time job for me. I learned a new area of law. We grew the YouTube channel. So, I mean, I'm glad I was able to play whatever, part I could in it.
That's an interesting, thought, Jeremy. So for both of you guys, and Jeremy, you kind of touched on a little bit, but to both of you, John, Jeremy, how has the past 2 years and really digging into the case and being kind of, leaders and pillars in the community, in this battle against the overreach of the SEC, how has this impacted your professional lives, like in your typical day-to-day law practice? Because both of you guys came from an area of law that isn't this, it's not crypto. And so, how's that directly impacted you? John, I'll start with you, and then Jeremy, go back and dig in deeper into that.
Well, I remember when you guys had me on, I think that one of the questions, so we're going back almost 2 years. One of the questions from the audience was, how long had I been a securities lawyer? And I looked at my watch and I said, about 13 days now.
13, there's that number again.
Yeah, 13 days or 14 days after I filed the writ. So, for me, it's, to be honest with you, I was in a professional rut. And when I say professional rut, meaning, I reached a certain level of success and you're always fighting about money and you're fighting defense attorneys about money and just the whole system of it all. And I love my clients, but a lot of my clients unfortunately pass away. And then I'm dealing with the children and, people are fighting about money, after the person passes. And, and I was, to be honest with you, I was getting kind of disenfranchised. I lost some love, if you will, and passion for the law. And this kind of invigorated me because I thought there'd be maybe a lot of people attacking me, like, why are you getting involved in this case? Just shut up and sit down and let the professionals do it. And it was just when everyone's support, and of course there's always somebody out there that says that kind of stuff, but overwhelmingly, like 99.9% of the people just felt like someone was speaking for them. And then that inspired me because they felt inspired. And it really invigorated me, to be honest with you. Kind of gave a love again for the law and the fact that you can fight, you know what I mean? And even though it's hard and even though you're sometimes putting your head against a brick wall, you just keep fighting for the people that matter, you know what I mean? And look, like I said, we have 76,000 XRP holders from 141 countries other than the United States. I mean, it's crazy. You're getting emails from, Nigeria and Afghanistan.
Was it from a prince?
Everywhere else.
Is it a prince in Nigeria? Just asking for a friend.
He has a million XRP locked up in Celsius. Oh,
and needs somebody that needs a wallet to put it into. But I want to say, no, in all seriousness, from everybody that's in this chat, but from the whole community, John, thank you, because you stood up. You didn't have to, and you fought for something that was right. And you, like you said, you would have done it had they gone after Ethereum, right, or had they gone after something else. But you stood up. You didn't have to, and I say thank you from the entire community. Now, let's throw that same question to Hogan again. Jeremy.
Yes, Hogan again.
Hogan again. Oh, again with the you got a reflection.
So for me, and what John and I were doing before is very not confrontational, but there was a lot of confrontation. But it's all about trade-offs. So what we were doing before was, my client was never 100% happy. The other side's definitely not 100% happy. And so for me personally, it was a nice change because, for the most part, 99% of the people were super happy, super supportive, super appreciative of everything that I would do when I would explain, what was going on in the litigation. And so that kind of sucks you in and makes you want to do it, even though you're basically doing it for free. So, it was kind of a rebirth of going into the area of law. But it also was nice because there wasn't this trade-off of, settling a case because, it's a number that should be settled at. And it's kind of one of those things where everything is unhappy. It was complete happiness and appreciation. And that was the big thing. But I did want to say, I was just commenting on the case, but John was in it. And you got to understand that, I just have all the appreciation and all the respect for him, because that's 10 times as much work as what I was doing. And so I almost have this, like, I don't know, not having to work hard guilt, because I know he's putting in 10 times the work that I have to, but I get like, here we are together, like we're doing the same amount of work. And really it's not true. The litigation, what John did is so much work. And if you've never been in litigation, you don't understand how much time and effort can go into a 10-page brief. I mean, it really could eat up your whole month if you wanted it to. So, I guess shout out to John, because he really put in the hard work, and he deserves, all the glory, I guess. I was just a sideline commentator. So, I was glad to play my part. But
I appreciate that, but I got to tell you, it got to a point where people would ask me like what the filing meant, and I would say, let's wait to Jeremy, because he explains what I do better than what I can explain it, and that's very surreal when you watch a video and you filed this thing, and you're like, wow, this guy's explaining it better than I can. And so that was very, very refreshing. So we all play our part. You know what I mean? I appreciate those kind words, Jeremy, but he's underestimating how many people he comforted, right?
And the comedy.
And so just the comfort, because, it's tough. And a lot of people have their life savings, or, they're very invested in this, and they could have an iTrust account, and they could have 150 grand tied up, which is their life savings, and they don't know this litigation, and there's things like pro hoc vici and just this words that mean nothing to them, and they don't know if that's bad or good. And so, when they can tune in and watch a video of someone who has been a professional teacher, so he has this gift of being able to convey complex things. Jeremy, I know he's a fantastic trial lawyer, because that's what you do. You take complex issues and you make them in simple terms so that everyday people can understand them. And so I think that, as kind as he is to me, I may have maybe put in a few more hours here and there, but he comforted more people than I did. So we all play our part.
It's great. And the comedy too is a really, the way you inject comedy in your videos, classic bits, classic stuff. And I'm going to tell you, we all appreciated it. So I can speak for everybody. Jeff, can I speak for everyone? I'm going to.
Go ahead and speak.
We appreciate it. Group hug, everybody. But listen, we've got a bunch of people to bring in tonight. And I thought we would bring in the Love the Lemon Trees, bring in none other than all the way live from Tokyo. It's the next day. You always wanted to talk to people from the future. Let's bring in Crypto Eddie. Crypto Eddie, what's going on? How are you? You're on mute. Let's get you off mute there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, guys. It's nice to see everybody. It was really enjoyable to sit and listen to this. It's so great to have this as a wrap up for the end of the year, too. Thanks to Jeff and Chip.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the two guys, and this is what I love about Jeremy and John. They just, like, you ask him, and Jeremy put out a funny tweet. He's like, Chip asked me, I had to do it. We have to do it. Do you have any kind of comments or anything you want to ask either, Jeremy or John about the case itself, or any statements?
Yeah. So I mean, you said a lot of what was going through my mind. I think we've all learned so much about the process of law, which has been valuable for everybody moving forward. We've got all this new vocabulary. We also came to the realization that social media is actually something that can function for the positive benefits of the world. We hear so much criticism about social media, and it's sometimes a kind of a tough space, but in this case, it was really a force of decentralized community that worked for the better. And I hope it gets utilized like this again. As an individual, sometimes we feel like we don't have a voice. And I felt like everybody's voice in the XRP community was heard. And then it was disseminated through all of the legal work. And Jeremy, of course, with his amazing ability to break it down, to explain to everyone what was going on. And this is a really serious situation for everybody. And the fact that he was able to inject a little bit of comedy was so valuable. And I just think everybody is so appreciative of John for the amount of work he's done. I mean, I don't think he sleeps. I think I would guess he probably gets less than 3 or 4 hours a night. And if you follow his schedule, where he's appearing, who he's talking to, his door is always open, and he's just given so much. So I just want to say thank you to everybody in the community, every single person who considers themselves part of the XRP community. And we're not as bad as some of those other people out there poking at us say we are. We're really not. And I think that the BIS once said we were the smartest crypto community in the space. And I think because of the help that's been given from even Jim Filan. I mean, we just, and we've got the other attorneys too that have, they're sharing too. I think, I don't know her well, and I've never spoke to her, but I follow her on Twitter. Just so many people contributed to helping us get to a whole new level. And I just want to say, thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Also want to say too that I invited Jimmy Filan on today. He said, give everyone a shout out. I would love to be there. I can't make it, but give everyone a shout out. So just so you know, he was also invited because he kept those, anytime something hit the docket, and even when I had access to the docket in the previous gig, it was like, it would hit the docket and be posted up on Twitter. It was like, oh, pretty quick. And then I know a couple times people had a cover for him. I don't know, I think you covered for him one time, John, but just so you know, he was invited here tonight. He gave everyone a shout out. So, also,
well,
really
I guess I should let it be known that Jimmy's basically my consigliere. Okay. So, everyone out there, when, he would never take the credit, but there were a couple times when, stress gets to you or this gets to you. And Jeremy too, I would pick up the phone. He always took the call, but Jimmy will always take the call. And someone I would work things through, you know what I mean? And so he deserves a lot of credit as well.
Great attorney, Filan. If I ever got in trouble, I'd be calling him first, probably. That guy is amazing.
And I chatted him up a lot too. And man, we got into some seriously deep music conversations. You have no idea the breadth of knowledge that guy has about music. Like, you wouldn't think about it, but he is really that type of a guy. But Jeff, thank you for putting this mode on. I felt like we were all like drifting away somewhere.
We're getting so far away. Look how far away everybody was.
Bring us all together with the group hug. There you go.
Bring them in.
Great.
I was getting ready to go into the news layout, and then we can, just start throwing people in and put them on the spot.
We can do that too. Yeah, there's a lot of that. We have buttons and we can play with those buttons. So there you go. Let's put those back up there.
There we go.
All right, Crypto Eddie, do you want any other comments you want to make? Anything else?
No. Thank you so much for having me on, and I really feel special that we're able to, do this for the community as a wrap up for the year, and just thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank you also from the community, because when it comes to top-notch research and non-hype videos, that's all up here. So it was your alley, and everything that you brought to the community over the last couple of years. It's been really special. It really has been. So, big thank you to you too, because watching your videos and feeling enlightened and waiting for that extra special fluff. The fluff is like still my favorite part. I feel like I learned something that could be of value someday, especially if I visit Tokyo.
That's right. You will visit Tokyo.
That's
not if, when you visit Tokyo.
Okay. I love the way you're talking now. I'm going to do van life, and I won't fit in the van. So there you go. That ought to be extra special.
When moon.
All right. You want to still hang out and watch the rest of the show? Because I can leave you down in the green room too. So
I'll hang out in the back.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Crypto Eddie. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. He's still here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and bring in.
We'll bring everybody in at the end. So we'll have.
We'll bring everybody in. Everybody will get to come on here. And why don't we bring in? Let's go to bring in Jungle Inc. Jungle Inc. in the house. What's going on, Jungle?
Not much, man. This is great, but please tell me we're not going to have a third anniversary of this thing while it's still going on.
No,
we're already planning it, Jungle.
This is something that James Rule and I were joking about.
I couldn't believe at the beginning. I thought for sure this would be a quick settlement, easy peasy, write the check. And all the legal minds told us it wasn't going to be like that. And I guess that's why you guys are professionals.
Well, as you know, Jungle, if it was about enforcing the securities laws, it would have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people got to realize that's not just us. Brian Brooks, a little guy who knows something, former comptroller of the United States, stated it would take him 15 minutes or less to settle this case.
Yeah.
And so there's just much more involved about this case, but it should have. It should have.
I think we're seeing probably what the problem was when we're looking at the library case, right, John? I mean, they're not being reasonable in that case. They want that injunction, which is a big problem. And if they want Ripple to register XRP, all sales of XRP, if they want them to come in and register, the issue becomes then Ripple's business model, and I think that's probably what the hangup is. It's just not possible for Ripple to do that, really.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up library. I mean, think of this, right? They won't come out. They conceded in the oral argument. They conceded that many library token holders, LBC token holders, do not view it as an investment, and they only utilize the token with the platform. Naomi Brockwell collected a whole bunch of LBCs. She didn't even know they had a monetary value to them for a couple of years. And so they concede that, but they won't issue a no action letter for users or secondary transactions. They won't concede anything, right? They just want, and library, hey, we will burn the tokens, the pre-mined tokens. We're dissolving the entity. We're out of here. And it's still not good enough. They want everything. You know what I mean?
And that's a peek behind the window of probably what's going on when Ripple talks to the SEC about settlement. You could tell what's going on in the library case because you're seeing it now in the pleadings. And really what it is the SEC is completely unreasonable, will not bend one bit, and you can't settle a case when one side is just not bending at all. It just doesn't work.
When the CEO and the general counsel publicly go on television and say, we will settle right now, I will write a check right now if they just agree that future ongoing sales of XRP are not securities, and it doesn't settle.
Yeah. So do you guys see that? Do you think that with what happened with library, does that then have an impact on the direction that the Ripple case or the outcome of the Ripple case at this point? And then does that all change come January 3rd, new Congress in session? And do things just change drastically? What's going to happen?
I don't think things change drastically unless you get a new chairman of the SEC. That's my personal opinion.
We all think that Gary is out. I mean, at this point, they're throwing him overboard. Both sides, the blue team, red team, they want him gone. And this FTX thing is a lot. They need a fall guy. Seems like the perfect patsy to me. I mean, you guys, I want to say Jeremy and John, your thoughts on him sticking around?
I don't know whether he sticks around or not, but I agree with John because, well, he's one vote when it comes to, there's a five chair vote, whether you settle a case or not, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, he's the chairman of the SEC, and everything stems from him. I mean, John and I both are the head of. Okay, really, my wife is the head of my law firm. Okay, let's just admit that. But
first lady.
But on paper, at least, I'm the head of the law firm. So what the people below me do, even though I might not have my hands involved in all of it, it all flows from me. And I think Chair Gensler and his chief of enforcement have a game plan. And I think I could see maybe what the end game there is in their strategy, but that game plan does not include settling this case. As far as otherwise they would have already.
Jungle, any other comments?
Go ahead, Jungle.
Yeah, two real quick ones, John. By entering this with your amicus in the library case, do you think you can force the or help push the SEC?
Well,
is that where we're going?
Yeah, I can't force anything. I'm not a party. The judge granted the motion. The SEC didn't object. The library, there may not be any future hearings or anything like that. And so if the judge has a hearing and allows amicus to participate, then I can obviously try to ask the judge to what I've done in the papers, which is just simply say, listen, your decision is being cited as the token itself is a security, because that's what has been argued in Lewis Cohen's article that I put in as an exhibit, and that secondary market sales are implicated in a permanent injunction. If you don't distinguish secondary transactions from library transactions, then your opinion could be used in a way that you don't intend it to be. And so that's the only argument. And so all I can do is try to make that to the case and hope the judge is receptive of that. The SEC's opinion is going to be, look, secondary, Naomi Brockwell isn't charged, right? That's who I represent as amicus. And so she's not charged. And so it's not a case in controversy, Judge. You shouldn't rule on something that's not before you. And so it just comes down to whether or not he's willing to distinguish it. I'm hoping that what happened in Telegram, the judge gave a second opinion. He gave a clarification where he said, look, the gram itself is not a security. And then he made some other clarifications. And so we're just hoping for that, because we know how the SEC is going to use it. And so we're sort of at the mercy of the judge. I hope he's receptive to it. He's a very smart guy, and we'll see.
And last real quick question, then I'll get out of your way here. I was looking through the exhibits where the SEC was challenging your filing in the Ripple case. In one of the exhibits, it was this blurb about how Hinman can't use staff for his own personal work, essentially. It was part of a text message that was sent to George, who I assume is the lead attorney for the SEC. And someone put on there, George, what are you guys smoking over there? Do you have any idea who sent that text message to George?
No.
Okay, I'll send it over to you guys later so you can look at it.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be interested to look at it. I mean, the real exciting thing, I guess, that's left other than a decision, right? That's the most exciting thing that's going to happen in the case, is whether or not there will be the Hinman emails and the drafts, whether or not that will be redacted, because there obviously some of them are exhibits. They're referenced to in Ripple's reply of their final brief. And so whether or not we get to see them, that's probably going to be the most exciting thing before the verdict.
Great. All right, guys. Well, I'll watch from the back. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it,
Jungle.
Jungle.
All right,
Pull you
Chip.
out of here. Let's see. I'm just trying to. There's so many in here. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Let's see. Who do we want to bring on next? I think we need to bring on somebody. It was mentioned, Jeremy. If you want to go ahead and introduce this next guest, because you already sort of.
What's the word? Doxed him? Is that right?
Doxed him early. Yeah, that's okay.
Doxed him early. Let's welcome I can't even do it. You go.
You
Chip.
can. Blockchain backer.
Blockchain backer.
Hey.
Do it. Come on,
What's
everybody.
going on, guys? Absolute pleasure to be up here on this panel with you guys. I don't have any type of like prepared remarks or anything like that.
I thought you were going to tell them to get some charts. Guys, start reading
No,
some
I
charts.
I just
Give it
kind of
a
wanted
one
to just speak the things that were in my mind and what came to my mind as I was watching. And I'm sure you'd like to be asked questions and stuff. And you know, I know that you guys probably do get told, you know, thank you so much all the time. And maybe it's hard to like let that resonate within you. And maybe you both understand what I mean within that. Like I've been doing this for a long time. There's always at the end, I say, hey, if you ever need to pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. And when people tell you, thank you so much, and you read it on the screen and you see it so much, and we're not at the end of the case yet. And so like, I assume there's part of you that's kind of like holding, you're like, yeah, thank you. But you know, we haven't gotten there yet. But John, and the fighting that you're doing on behalf of the XRP community and the people involved is that there's a lot of people who feel victimized. And you give the people the feeling of hope, and that is a powerful feeling of having hope. You know, that's why, you know, Barack Obama ran specifically on the word hope. It's because it's so powerful to just have some. And it's thank you very much for doing everything that you're doing. And we don't know how it's going to go, and you know what the end is going to be, and all the effort that you're putting into it. And in the end, there is a massive appreciation of you giving people that hope. So thank you, John.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Blockchain.
Yeah, man. Jeremy, I haven't actually watched the entirety of your last video that you did. When I came on to Chip and Jeff's show recently, they asked me, what am I binging on Netflix? And I actually did watch the first few minutes of your last episode that you put out. But what I forgot to mention to you, Chip and Jeff, is that I am notorious for binge watching shows and not watching the last episode because I don't want it to end. If I watch the last episode, it's officially over. Otherwise, I can always sit there and wait for that last show, to happen. And it's not over for me yet. I still know it's there for me to watch. But Jeremy, like I just said, that pick me up with a little bit of reassurance. And you helped guide people in a very scary and dark world that we just don't understand what is going on. And it's hard to put into the words of how appreciative people are. I hope you at some point get an opportunity to meet multiple people in real life for them to express that to you. I went years having people type it on a computer screen and me reading it on a computer screen to have that happen. But still staying humble within myself because not feeling like the job was done. And then when some people approached me in real life and they were like very sincere about this in real life, it just was like, wow, really? Because it just doesn't feel that real through the computer screen for some reason. But when they're saying it to you in real life, and again, that feeling of hope, that feeling of understanding, you don't realize, Jeremy, what you provided to people with that. If you get nothing out of this, however this goes, there's this 2-year moment of your life, Jeremy, where there was a massive group of people that you helped feel better. And just know that that's special. And not a lot of people get that, man. And I'm super grateful for you. And I am hoping that you will eventually put out another episode and I can watch that episode at some point. And there's a lot of other things in crypto that you could cover that we would all just love watching. But it's like me, man. Am I going to make videos about news? I don't care about news, dude. I want to look at, squiggly lines and mathematical stuff. That's what I care about. I have to cover the news once in a while, but whatever, man. Squiggly lines, dude. But hopefully you can find something that you enjoy doing, because otherwise you're not going to be good at it. But that's the part of it. It seems like you thoroughly enjoyed doing what you're doing. I'm rambling at this point, man. I didn't even ask you a question, bro. But God, man, I know that people are feeling this way because I see them type it to you all the time. I've seen that stuff typed to me. And I know there's a part of humbleness that you guys both carry with you, and humility that you carry with you, because the job's not done yet. And it's hard to celebrate that. And we don't know how it's going to end. But when it does, man, gosh, there's this big victory in your life that whatever law case you ever win again in your life, trust me, it's just when you go to heaven, when you speak before God, it's going to be, or, whatever you believe in, it's going to be that moment that you did something really good for the world. So just know that, man, both of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. And then I will ask one question, because you said you think you know what the SEC's end game is, Jeremy. You think you can vision it of what it actually is. Can you summarize that real briefly, what you think it really is, the end game?
Yeah, I did throw that out. So I've been thinking about this for the last week or two. And I think, what they're doing here is with the injunction, what the SEC really wants to say is that XRP is a security, just like a share of Apple stock is a security. But they can't say that because they know if they go in front of the judge and say that, Judge Netburn already told them what the reaction will be. It'll be ridicule and they'll be like, this is ridiculous that you're even arguing this. So instead of saying XRP is a security in of itself, they're just arguing that with when Ripple sells it, when Library sells it, it's a security, and it can't change that attribute. I've actually had an SEC attorney basically tell me that on the phone. So they can't say that in court. So what they're doing is they're trying to say it without saying it. And the end game for me is that the reason why they can't say it, and the reason why they're making the argument, is because I think with the new enforcement attorney at the SEC is a smart guy. And I don't think Chair Gensler is not a smart guy. I think he's a smart guy as well. I think the end game here is to enforce and regulate the exchanges, because otherwise you're chopping off the Hydra's heads and they're all coming back. If you just go after Ripple, Library, one at a time, there's just 5 more are gonna pop up because the technology is that good. So I just think that the end game here is to regulate the exchanges, because that's the only way to attack the body of crypto. And so I think that's what they're going for. And I think that's why their arguments are so strange, and because they're really trying to say one thing, but they just can't say it because it's ridiculous. And so that's why their pleadings come across as, they have all these weird arguments in your pleadings where you go, what are they even trying to say? And that's why they won't agree to certain things, because they can't agree to those things, because the end game here is to regulate the exchanges, because if they can regulate the exchanges, they can regulate everything.
Listen, this is a coordinated attempt. You guys know that 6 months ago I said it would be by the end of the year, and technically it's true because of FTX, even though that's not how I envisioned it. I said that an exchange would be sued, and I think they went after Wowie, right? They first Ripple, Library, Dragon Chain. They get 100 million from BlockFi. And they go after Wowie, and they say these 9 tokens are securities, but they don't go after Coinbase, who's listing those 9 tokens. It's because they're building momentum in my opinion, for the final one. And the final one may be a Binance. They seem to be the narratives being pushed against Binance right now, where an exchange, whether it's Coinbase, whether it's Binance US, whether it's a couple of them. Unfortunately, I think that's the end game, because you keep hearing him say, when I say him, I'm talking about Gary Gensler, the runway's running shorter, the runway's shorter and shorter, they're running out of time. But what did the BlockFi settlement accomplish? There's no registration that took place. There's no policy that was implemented. They got taxed 100 million. And so I think that's the end game. And that's why they won't agree to secondary market sales by users are not securities, because they want to control that secondary market through the exchange. So I'm with Jeremy on that, obviously.
For such a big thing that they want to accomplish, to be able to regulate all exchanges and essentially just pretty much crush the cryptocurrency market, do you feel that they have, like, that's a big goal they're trying to accomplish? That's like the big holy grail. Like, are they willing to really risk it all? Do they have a strong enough case to win this whole thing? Is it a good enough gamble for them at this point to really do that? I mean, the stakes sound so high for them if that's their end goal. Like, could they really risk it, like, to get a decision for what they're really wanting? It sounds like you would be more strategic to finalize that at the end rather than to roll the dice so hard on that big of a thing.
Well, I think the time's running out for them as well. I mean, the SEC doesn't have forever in order. If this is a power grab, which all indications are it is, the SEC wants to regulate. They want to take it all in and regulate everything except Bitcoin, apparently. So, if they just keep chopping at the Hydra's heads and just take on another couple projects, yeah, they could get some more wins under their belt. But how much time do they have left? Because at some point, either they're going to lose because legislation's going to come out, which affects this, or there'll just be too many projects for them to be effective. So, I don't think the SEC has as much time as I think we think, and I think they realize that. So I agree with John that a crypto exchange is going to be getting sued very soon.
Yeah.
When you see a Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan buy a huge percentage of Coinbase or one of these other exchanges, then you know that.
What are the assets from FTX? That's weird. That's kind of convenient, right? It's a weird oddity. It just like collapses and we'll come in. But anyway, blockchain background. I want to move along, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Make sure we get the.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. We'll bring everybody in at the end. Okay.
So I want to bring in at the end. So hang in there.
Another legend here. This is JamesRuleXRP. What's up, James?
Hey, I had to take myself off mute. Hey, everybody.
The X Punk shirt.
Hey, here we are, represent, man, the XRP legend. I tell you what, I'm honored to be here tonight, and I just want to thank you guys for inviting me. John Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, the two goats out there that have done more than anybody else could have done in this community. John Deaton, man. I mean, we go back, and the fight that you guys have been fighting, this whole community has been fighting, has just been incredible. I'm not really much for words. I'm just blessed to be a part of this community, to be a part of the crypto sleuths. John Deaton, crypto law, all that. You've been getting all this information out to the masses. Jeremy, I love your videos. Hopefully we'll see a few more snuck in here. But the question I have, and we could talk about, hey, when is this lawsuit going to end? Blah, blah, blah. We don't know. But the question I have is with the SEC and the CFTC saying that we're going to rely on Congress to make the rules. After watching the two hearings last week and seeing that members of Congress have no clue what blockchain technology and DLT is, I mean, how's this going to happen in the foreseeable future?
Well, I think that you saw two very different hearings. You had the Senate hearing was a joke. And you have this, I mean, you have the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Sherrod Brown, talking about stopping crypto, right? Banning crypto altogether. And he puts an actor and then Kevin O'Leary as the speakers. I mean, how are they going to educate anybody? And then when the House hearing was more substantive, there's no doubt about it. And so, I don't want to get political because I'm truly an independent. You know what I mean? I really am. I just usually vote the incumbent out, whether they're Republican or a Democrat. But it's a scary thought to think that had the House not flipped, and you had one party, and it's seems to be the anti-crypto party, to be completely in control when the banking chairman's talking about banning crypto. I mean, first of all, you can't ban it. It's a worldwide global thing, but it's scary. But that's the point of what Jeremy and I and others on this show have been saying for 2 years of how important this Ripple case is, because we're not going to get legislation that passes the Senate and the House and signed by the president in the next 6 to 9 months. It's just not going to happen, and so what you're going to get is de facto regulation vis-a-vis the Judge Torres's decision, and who knows, but that's my position on it.
James, I couldn't watch it. I'm sorry, but my stomach couldn't handle it. Sorry.
Thing.
We're definitely in a predicament, right, James? And it's interesting. We've led up to this point, 2 years in. We've got this amazing community, right? Everybody's super, fired up, motivated that there's still going to be a positive outcome. And Jeremy, John, I think you guys are really, touching on something critical here, that all of the things that have happened up until this point and happened recently that we've been referencing with the fall of FTX, the fall of Celsius, the turnover of the House. Now you have a party that seems to be more pro-crypto that is going to displace the anti-crypto crowd. There's this battle that's been waged, and it seems like the general in the army on the other side has been Gary Gensler, or maybe he's the
Let's not call him a general. Let's not give him that.
I'm not sure where he fits into this equation. And then it is a global phenomena, so it's not just about what's happening here in the U.S. And I think even Brad Garlinghouse, was admonished a little bit when he was over in Dubai or Qatar or something. He started talking about the case, and they say, we don't really give a shit about the case, over here. It doesn't impact us over here. But at the end of the day, it really does, doesn't it?
Everybody, yeah.
John, Jeremy, I mean, the outcome of this Ripple case right now, as Brad Garlinghouse had referenced, it really is the saving grace of crypto in the United States. Now, if the United States falls back and is no longer a leader in technology, where does the space go moving forward? Is there a future?
I listen. I I love my international XRP holders. Trust me, I love them. But some of them will say that who cares about the U.S. and you need the U.S. market. You're talking about financial markets in this world. You still need the United States, and so why is XRP still where it's at if the United States wasn't important? And so it can move on, but we have to. It's what's holding us back. If we got sensible regulation, then it's going to explode. I mean, I've said this before. As bad, Gary Gensler by far is the worst. But just imagine where we could be if Clayton would have implemented when he had Elad Roisman and Hester Peirce, and if he'd have implemented a safe harbor, and if he'd implemented and said, Ripple, you got 5 years to meet these markers, or 3 years, and this project, whatever. Here's the guidance. You meet this, you're a commodity. You don't meet this, we're going to sue you, or you don't come in and register as a security. Just imagine where we could be. The Hinman speech was 2018. We're in 2023, and we're still nowhere near where we should be. It's really, really tragic, but we'll see.
James, anything else?
Yeah, I have one last question. Okay, now there's not going to be a 3rd anniversary special.
No.
The 3rd anniversary is going to be the XRP Army getting together on a tropical island somewhere. Where are we going to meet, John and Jeremy? Where's our dream destination for all of us to get a big group hug? And where are we going? Where are we going?
Answer his house.
I will for the Bahamas myself. Put me in.
Yeah. By the way, I drove by Howie in the Hills, the sign, and I was reminded of Jeremy's video. And I was like, let me call Jeremy. I'm like, I don't even have his number, but you know what? Howie in the Hills, we should meet up in that. There's a mansion there that you can rent out for parties because these young couple went in there, and the original Howie that this whole Howie test is based off of, and the city's called Howie in the Hills.
Let's take it over. Let's take it over. The XRP Army.
Let's go to Bahamas. I love it.
Let's make it happen.
Howie in the Hills. Thank you, James. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
I want to bring in none other than, we got to go down under for this next one. This is none other than Oz Crypto. What's going on?
Sorry, I had to introduce myself.
What's up?
Thanks for having me on, John and Jeremy. Wow, just the amount of work you guys have done towards. I mean, I don't want to continue on the same kind of bandwagon. I'm sure you guys' heads are getting big enough, and that's it's a great thing. But honestly, it's one of those things that the law, much like the technology overall, is just one of those things it's hard to get people interested in, right? Like, it's one of those things that you can become so passionate about and want to talk to such an extent that without the correct timing, without the correct focus, without the correct delivery, we wouldn't be at the stage of knowledge we are without you guys doing that stuff. So just genuinely, obviously I'm all the way in Australia and it still has an impact on me. And no offense, John, but I am part of the people that have in the past said that the US isn't necessarily as important as it thinks it is in this. I agree. It is a very important player, but I don't think that one of the things that you guys were just talking about was they want to be regulating the exchanges. But meanwhile, we've got the technology moving forward to a point where there's able to be on-roads that are completely ignoring exchanges. And it's that sort of government taking one step longer. The same sort of thing we saw in the 2000s around the US when it came to legalizing things on the internet. Like, I can't remember the name of the law, but it was one that was loosely based on like the 1984 movie War Games, where it came to how they defined what hacking and fraudulent activities was. The Computer Fraud and Something Act is what it was. But sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here, but I guess my main point here is, do you think that there is actually a reality where there is going to be true set regulations, or is it almost going to be like how a lot of internet businesses have been for a very long time, ever since inception, where it's just sort of, they just continue to operate as if it's not an online environment and it is just a business the way that it runs? Do you think we're going to get to that point, or is that a bit of apples and oranges and wishful thinking?
I think I understand your question. I think there's going to be regulation for the time being and into the foreseeable future. I think eventually we get post-regulation, so to speak. I think we go full circle back to the way it was originally envisioned with decentralization and that type of thing. But I think, next 10 or 15 years, I don't think maybe I'll be still working when we get back to that point. But I think that the financial system is just too ingrained in our society. And that's why we need exchanges, I think, for the foreseeable future, because how many people are going to get into crypto on a DeFi exchange of some sort and then self custody on their Ledger Nano? I think exchanges are a necessary stepping point between where we are now and where the crypto space wants and needs to be, but that's a long way away, in my opinion.
I think we're probably 2 years away from maybe good regulation, in the sense of, does it go to the CFTC, and maybe there's a subcommittee of the CFTC that deals with digital assets. I think we're probably, 2 years from that. We should have already been there. Maybe I'm being naive and it's further than that. And I agree with Jeremy. I think exchange, most people are not going to self-custody, and most people are not, right? The real people are, who believe in that, fine. But even CZ said that if a majority of people self-custody with the 12-word seed phrase and all that, they're going to end up losing their crypto. And I think there's some truth to that. So I think the exchanges are foreseeable for the next decade. After that, I don't know, but I'm hoping that we get some kind of sensible, legislation. I mean, look at the UK, where they simply said, here's a digital security, here's a security token. This is a utility token. This is an exchange token. They plop in XRP. They say, look, XRP is in hybrid. It's part utility token. It's part exchange token, but it's not security token. I mean, you can come out. It's not rocket science. We just need to get our legislators to get off their ass and look at how some of the foreign counterparts, like the UK's FCA, like Japan's FSA or FSC, whatever it's called, and look at those frameworks and come up with something that's very workable, that stops fraud and the pump and dumps and all the things that do go on, and fosters innovation. It really, really is tragically what's happening in this country. And I agree with you that although we may disagree on how important the U.S. is right now, I agree with you that the U.S. will get left behind if it doesn't get off its ass.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. It's not that obviously the US is a huge superpower. There's a massive amount of money that comes out of the US, especially when it comes to industry and technology, and has been the case for a very long time. It's just, I don't think the world will necessarily wait. And also, just further to the point, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking a 10-year time frame around people not having to use exchanges. I guess my point wasn't that people would need to go and have anything set up. It's that we've got a large number of teams globally in all different cryptocurrency circles that are trying to make cryptocurrency like the internet ubiquitous, that you could be using it to settle and you don't even know that you're using it to settle. You could be using it like, how they use WeChat or WePay and that type of thing within China. And, that's kind of the future vision a lot of people are building towards. But I agree with you. It's probably at least 10 years out. It's just, I wouldn't be shocked if it took regulators that long to get off their asses, but hopefully I'm wrong and hopefully you're right. So yeah, I don't have any other questions.
I hope you're wrong too, but just saying.
I underestimate everybody.
Sorry, Oz, I had to just put that out there. But what time is it in what are you, Sydney? Are you in Sydney?
Yeah, I'm in Sydney. So it's like 1 o'clock.
I want to know who the British
in the
guy is.
afternoon.
Talking to somebody. Who's the British guy? Oops.
British guy.
That's like the worst thing you could say to somebody. I mean,
honestly, it's
Australia.
not, man. The Australian accent is awful. Like, it's one of those things where mine isn't too thick, but I'm sure Wazza, for example, love the guy, but man, he sounds
I have
like
no idea what he's talking about. I'll be honest with you.
It's hard for me to understand him, and I'm around these people 24 hours a day. So
these people, there's nothing weird in that. These people,
my people. I'm allowed to call them these people when they're my people.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, you're down.
I love Australia. Just want to go on record as saying that.
That's
I
awesome.
love the Australian.
I love talking to people in the future, John. He's living in Wednesday already.
Yeah,
it's Wednesday past midday.
He already knows if XRP went to the moon. How do you like that?
Yeah, you'll be the first to know, right? First to know ahead of us. Anything else, Oz? You got anything else you want to?
No, just thank you to you two as well for putting this all together. So I'm sure you're going to bring us all back in together, and that'll be.
Everyone's coming back in there. We're going to sing a song. We'll do a group hug and take a group picture. It'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
So we'll do it. And then listen, we wanted to. We have somebody else in here, and very well known. This is none other than XRP, the Standard Productions. You know him. You love him. Barum ching. What's up, XRP the artist?
Guys, what an absolute honor it must be for John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan to join XRPP, I must say. And I just popped open a fresh Michelob Ultra. I'm ready for the conversation. Gentlemen, nice to officially meet you. John, I was able to converse with John on the Spectacular Spaces. Jeremy Hogan, this is the first time that we've conversed, although I do bother him a lot in the Twitter DMs. So I apologize for that a little bit. On the last one I sent, I actually tried to hypnotize him. I don't know that it worked, but
it did work.
I asked him a couple of things, and then I turned him into a chicken. So I apologize to Vu for that.
I also gave him the keys to my Ledger Nano, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. But no harm was done. I just wanted to see if I could do it. So it's a pleasure to join you guys. And yes, I'm XRPP the artist only because of the DS private collection NFTs that are going on XRP.cafe. But you guys know me mostly as a journalist.
A journalist.
The cool thing,
a journalist.
I'm the main journalist throughout this whole expedition that we've had in the XRP and Ripple trial against the SEC. I'm pretty much the main journalist. That's me and Roz Layton, I think, are really the only ones.
Well, Rosalind Layton put out another banger today. I saw John's comment on that. Well, listen, I want to take you guys through a couple things because thank you, XRPP, for keeping us humor. And I love when you go to his bio. Come on, man, it's parody. But this one right here was a great story. This was the time where Gary Gensler got out of hand. He said, "Your crap, Gary Gensler." He confronts John Deaton in a bar.
This one was unfortunate. I mean, John just went in for a beer, I think, with some buddies, and Gary just happened to be there. And Gare, if there's one thing I know about Gare, he has a temper. And when he saw John and, everything that John had said about Gary on all of these Fox Business shows, he just had enough. And I'm hoping that no one got hurt, but that was
John looks like he's about to destroy him.
It's hilarious because there's no one less intimidating than Gary Gensler. That's why it's funny.
You've never seen him mad, though.
It's like Hulk, right?
If he gets on jogging shoes and ties them really tight, you're in trouble.
Look at John's face in that. He's about to destroy him. He's about to throat punch him into non-existence there. John, how did that go down? It was weird, right? Because I think he got beat to a pulp.
Listen, there's a pro Hawk Vici motion pending. I ain't saying nothing.
Lead the fifth. Okay.
For the record, John Deaton's not even laughing at this joke.
No, he's not even. You can see that. Not happy, not funny at all. But just for the record, Jeremy did smile, so I'm just saying.
I think it's hilarious.
And there was this one here. This was Gary Gensler.
This was interesting. Gary actually appeared on Celebrity Jeopardy, but he did very poorly because everything he answered a security to every single question. So it was a bit embarrassing, but I don't know. The guy must be programmed somehow.
Hey, he lost a lot of cash there, right? No, minus 40,000.
He did.
What is the security? This one here, Jay Clayton admits he's jealous of Brad Garlinghouse's beard.
This actually came out very early in the case. Actually, a day after, or it might have been the same day. My reporters are very good. They seem to cover things that other journalistic organizations just can't. But yeah, apparently, like he was just jealous of Garlinghouse's beard, which aren't we all?
Yes.
Well, I have met Brad in person. He is one of the most charming guys. He's one of the most personable guys, and he's funny in person. He's really, you don't see that comedic side of him, but I was happy to hang out with him about 15 minutes. This one here, this is huge. Satan resigned from the SEC. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, and Satan was one of the good ones. He had enough. He said these guys are just too much. He couldn't handle all the corruption, the lack of morals. You can only go so far, and he had met his limit. Who can blame him?
John, no comment at John. Don't comment.
No comment, John. And this one here, this was wild. This I saw to the show with Tony. It had Hester Peirce on. Hester Peirce held up a mysterious message.
I didn't quite
Thinking Crypto.
I didn't quite understand it. She gave very milquetoast answers, but she kept holding up this note, and apparently it says, "Can't talk about it now. Please send help. Gary has me locked in here." I don't really understand that. I don't know what's going on, but I thought it was worth reporting on.
She had the blue dot on her hand also, by the way.
Yes.
And then we have this one here, getting ridiculous. SEC to submit amicus brief to support Ripple and the XRP.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ripple had like 100 amicus briefs in support of them, and I think the SEC saw, they're opportunists, and they just thought, well, if we're going to win this thing, we better be on the winning side. So they went ahead and submitted, which is disappointing to me, because I actually submitted from XRP, the Standard Productions, an amicus brief for the SEC. I don't know if you guys remember that. Jimmy Filan, my good friend Jimbo, he actually reported on it. And I'm favoring the SEC, because if Ripple is successful and slaps down the SEC, and the SEC is not allowed to continue their reign of terror, I'm going to miss out on so much satire. I mean, it really is going to sink XRP the Standard Productions.
What will you do, right?
I don't know. I really don't know what I do. And all of my reports.
There's no plan B.
There's no plan B. There's no plan B. This one here too. Congrats to the SEC Ethics Office. The Ethics Office voted the most useless office in America for the 5th straight year.
I was very, very proud of the SEC, and I wish I could have presented the award to them. It's an honor for them to, and this is 5th year in a row. I think they're going to win 10 straight. To be honest, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know exactly what kind of trophy is given for that, but they got something. I know.
Something came out of that. Then we had this one here, which was Ripple opened a new office at the SEC headquarters. No one saw that coming.
No, this was a power move. You never can tell what Garlinghouse is going to do next. This was a power move. I think it was meant to intimidate the SEC. I don't know if it was successful, but yeah, they have an office now in the Securities and Exchange Commission headquarters.
Okay. This one here too. Gensler to hire 100,000 SEC agents in fear of falling behind the IRS.
Well, in terms of tyrannical government arms, they become competitive with each other. And of course, there was 80,000 new IRS agents. Gerber was not going to be outdone. He hired 100,000 SEC agents. A story this week, I did say they were going to be called stormtroopers. They have outfits and everything. It's very impressive, very intimidating. Gerber never to be outdone.
Very good. And then finally, we have this one here. Well, this was a weird one. The Mafia submits its first amicus brief for support of the SEC.
This was the first one, aside from the XRP, the Standard Productions amicus brief. They did get one from the Mafia. That was the first. The Mafia said if the SEC is not successful, it'll be bad for shakedowns all over America. So, yeah, this was very important for the SEC.
Right on. And then there's this one. The SEC sued the SEC for allowing Ripple to sell securities for 8 years.
Yeah, it only makes sense, because for 8 years, Ripple was allowed to sell XRP and nothing happened. So the SEC finally said, look, we've got to sue ourselves, because we really, we've screwed up here. So you got to hand it to the SEC for doing that, for recognizing that they need to sue themselves.
It does kind of make sense in a weird kind of way,
Yeah, I'm impressed. And finally, I think John Deaton himself retweeted this news back in September. The SEC has diversity requirements just like any other governmental organization. And they just found that they did not have enough people who possessed something called ethics. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but they had to hire more. So I think they ended up hiring about 50,000 people with ethics just to balance out that, that employee base. So, I'm happy. I'm so happy that I can cover this news. I don't quite know why no one else is covering it, but that's part of the reason why XRPP is here. And Crypto Town Crier News.
It's hard to know why. Before we bring everybody else back in here, thank you for that. And again, thank you for bringing comedy to everybody.
I gotta say, XRP, the Standard Productions, is a character, and on Twitter he is a character, but in real life he is a real person. And we met, yeah, and he's very handsome and very charming. He is very rich. But he is just a person. I am just a person, and I am so happy. And this is, I'm dropping all of the satire. I'm so happy to be part of this community. I'm so grateful to what everyone has brought to this community. It's almost like the Avengers, and we're battling these evil forces, and we each have our own superpower. And they're different superpowers, but they are each benefiting the overall cause. I am happy in my kind of ridiculous way to provide whatever I can provide for people to give them, let them take a breath, give them some hope, and so on. And you guys have heard it a million times, but thank you very much for everything that you guys have done. You guys have private lives, you have responsibilities, you have families, and you're contributing and helping a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have been hurt by this, including myself. And we're all coming together for a very, very good thing, a very, very good cause. And I'm happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, XRP.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to say
Really
one other thing
appreciate
too.
that.
Rob McDermott dropped something early in the chat. He said, John, Jeremy, I'd like to make a holiday gift in your names as a small token of appreciation for all you do. Could you suggest a charity that matters to you or your family? Thank you for all your contributions. You're loved and respected by all of us. Anything you want to throw out there as a charity? That way Rob McDermott will make a pledge.
My family always donates to Doctors Without Borders.
That's a good one. Excellent. Okay, Doctors Without Rob, you got that one? What do you got, John?
The Olivia Deaton Foundation, which is my daughter's, but her friend at 15 years old committed suicide, and the high school didn't really respond well and didn't do anything. And my daughter wanted to do something about teenage depression, and created a foundation. So you can DM me and we'll talk about it. But it's obviously it's close to my heart, and I'm very proud of her for doing that. But it's the Olivia Deaton Foundation in loving memory of Devin Costello.
Great. Well, thank you guys both for that. And then I just want to put one other tweet that I saw that was awesome. Kevin O'Leary put, money has no gray areas. You either make it or you lose it. And John Deaton said, sort of like integrity. You either have it or you don't. That was just phenomenal. Man, boom, burn on that one. That was phenomenal.
That was a great comment. Hey, before we bring everybody back in, and I don't know if we can do this quick. This question has come up multiple times by John Martin. And the question is, John, can you update us on the timeline for the case? Maybe between you and Jeremy kind of outline, like where are we going from here? Like here we're sitting, what happens moving forward?
We're really just in waiting mode. Like I said, the only thing that I can think of that's going to happen as an event is the unsealing of exhibits, depositions, the depositions of, Brad Garlinghouse, depositions of Bill Hinman that haven't been seen, things like that. But we're on watch. I believe the earliest is the end of March. I fear that it could go into April, but I think that's when we get a decision. Sometime between the end of March and the end of April. That's my belief. Some people think it's earlier, and I hope it is, because Judge Torres, she's very conscious, I think, of the public interest, and so we could see a ruling before that. You know what I mean? But imagine the amount of litigation and documents before her. So she's a very methodical judge, but Jeremy might have a better educated guess.
I actually think the longer it goes, a little bit the better, because I think if you really dig into the facts and the evidence in the case, it really leans Ripple's way. I think the way this thing goes south is that the judge just does a superficial, like, skimming of the evidence and facts. So in a sense, you almost want it to take a long time. I don't think in this case a quick ruling is going to be a good thing for us.
Well said.
Really
All right,
well
let's
said.
hope it goes till not quite the 3rd anniversary show, but certainly longer than March, right? Is that where we're kind of in agreement here?
Yeah, we'll take end of March. I think that'll be
all right.
good.
Sounds good. Well, let's bring everybody back in here. Let's bring you back, Crypto Eddie. Welcome back to the ship broadcast. James Rule, XRP, blockchain backer, Oz Crypto, and XRPP, the standard, or the artist, I should say. Well,
Yeah,
look at
Brady
this. We're like the
Bunch
Brady Bunch. It's amazing. You can look down. You can look over and to the side.
I think I'm Cindy. Am I Cindy?
I think you are Cindy Brady. Yeah, you might be Cindy Brady.
Can you
Marsha?
Does that make me Marsha?
Yeah.
Marsha.
Exactly.
Crypto Eddie will be Marsha, subbing for Marsha. Who wants the? So anyway, guys, I just want to wrap this up really good. The blockchain backer's doing it well right there. Don't make me laugh, man. But I just want to say, from the entire community, guys, thank you so much for, it was kind of weird when Jeremy put that tweet out. We're going to celebrate, not really celebrate, but kind of like, I kind of like threw that out there. We're going to celebrate. No, we're not going to celebrate. We're going to mark this occasion. It is coming up. I believe that the papers were filed on the 22nd. But thank you, everybody, for coming in here and joining. I know a lot of people had a lot of great questions in the chat, but we just didn't have the time. I know we ran over, so I want to be, mindful of everyone's time. But I'm going to say my piece, and we'll go around. Everybody have their say their piece. We'll get out of here, and we'll say close the 2nd year anniversary show and go on from there. So let's go to Crypto Eddie. Why don't we bring in the same appearance here?
Yeah, thanks again to everybody and everyone in the XRP community. Keep the faith and keep doing what you're doing, which is really helping to support everybody in this fight. Thanks.
Yeah, by the way, somebody's asking about Jungle. Jungle, I think, had to leave, so that's why he's not here. Otherwise, we would have brought him in. Okay, let's go next to Blockchain Backer.
No, yeah, I mean, we're going to do a show next year.
But it'll be a different kind of show, right?
Yeah,
right?
It's going to be fun.
Like that meme, right?
It's not going to be this, I wonder what's going to happen stuff. It's going to be it happened. It's over. And yeah, we're all shaking hands, shaking babies and kissing. What is it?
I don't know where you're headed with that, man. Kissing babies. I don't know. Is there a saying like that?
Kissing babies? Do not shake babies, man. Come on. Rule 1.
No, it's just fun to hang out, man, and trying to make some fun out of it. This has been the 2 years of what it is, man. We're just trying to get through it. Everybody contributed a part to it to try to make it a little bit better. So we'll keep going at it. We'll get to the finish line, and when we do, we'll have some fun.
We'll do it together. James Rule.
Hey, thanks for having me on. We are going to get through this. We've been fighting the fight. This entire community is amazing. I'm blessed to be here as a content creator, crypto teacher, and don't forget, I told you so.
It's your favorite catchphrase, Oz Crypto.
Yeah, I feel like we're all just an echo chamber at this point. But yeah, just a huge thank you. I'm honestly very honored to be on this panel with all you great members of the community. I remember starting back in 2018. It was because of it was actually around the same time that yourself and Jeff were starting to get involved. Eri was already well on her way. Jungle was on his way, and seeing this space build out and more knowledge and information coming just really, I guess, heartens me for the future of where this community is going. Because I think as we get more into the minefield that is regulation, that is the public eye, it's really important that people understand what these products are, that they understand what the implications are to the wider outcomes. So yeah, just thank you to all, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Oz. And of course, who could forget? Jungle's not here, but XRPP, the artist.
I'll stand in for Jungle. The revolution will be televised. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you on Jungle Link.
Jungle Link, right on.
The 2-year anniversary, this was something that my mother had told me. The 2-year anniversary is actually the cotton anniversary. So it's very special time between Ripple and the SEC. This is their cotton anniversary. It's when two entities start to become intertwined like two pieces of cotton. So I thought that was very interesting. But to end it, I have to say that there's going to come a time later on in life where we're going to meet different people who were part of the community. It could be at some kind of an event. It could be happenstance. And they're going to shake our hands, and they're just going to say that was a very, very special time. And it's going to be different for each person that's up on this panel and the countless other people who are kind of in the eye of the XRP community. But each one of you plays a very, very special part in helping people. And it really is, if not the most amazing thing that you're going to be part of in your life, it's going to be one of the amazing things, I think, that we are part of in our lives, in this particular community, in this particular battle, in this particular point in time. And I will leave it at that.
It was an epic send-off. And then John E. Deaton. And when I say John E. Deaton, it's just my favorite thing to say.
Yeah,
it's like John E. Deaton. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, everybody. It's been a pleasure. I'm gonna say something that Eddie touched on. I was on Real Crypto Vision's daily brief.
Yep.
And at the end of the show, those guys were like, "Those are the best, most intelligent questions ever. There must have been lawyers and hedge fund managers. And I was like, no. Those are my people, right? Those are XRP community. So no matter what leader out there in the world says something, all right, we are a great community. And don't ever let anyone fool you. I believe the XRP community is without question the most intelligent and knowledgeable crypto community in the world. And it's my pleasure to be a part of it.
Wait, was that Craig DeWitt that just popped in there?
That was Craig DeWitt.
Excellent. Craig DeWitt. There he is. He's another hour of content, these folks. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Craig, former Rippler, doing his own thing now. Very cool. And Jeremy, thank you so much for being here. And again, I will say it. You know, man, I'm gonna miss the comedy. I think I'm gonna miss the comedy more than anything, but also your insights as well. And you know what? We might have to get Blockchain Backer to watch the rest of your so-called last video when you make that whatever celebration video or whatever that next video is gonna be, right?
Off into the sunrise.
Yeah, you know, I was, I don't know if it was Eri was interviewing a securities lawyer or if it was someone else, but I was watching that clip and the securities lawyer is saying, you know, I've been on Twitter and I see all the XRP community discussing super complicated legal issues. And that really made me happy because this guy was so impressed. And he's a securities lawyer. This is what he does every day. And to see, you know, John Smith on Twitter discussing these legal issues brought a little bit of a tear to my eye. So I was super happy about that. But, you know, in closing, I would just say, you know, keep in mind, it's always darkest before the sunrise. So here we go.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's pretty good. So yeah, by the way, when Craig was just saying he's building cool stuff. Super Mojo is what he's building. You know, so that's what he's building, some cool stuff. And then cool Jeff, if you want to just play us out here, I think we got to everybody. Jeff, you want to play us out, and then
what are we gonna play?
You're gonna talk, Jeff. I mean, but let's keep it a little brief, man. Let's not go crazy here.
Let's play something.
John's gotta get like his 2 hours sleep tonight. Okay, I mean, let's face it.
An absolute honor, everybody. An absolute honor. What a joy. I love each and every one of you and everyone listening.
I'm sorry, was your name Jeff? That's weird. That was weird.
I'm sorry. This was my last chance.
Well, seeing that you don't have a picture, I can just.
We know what you look like.
Man, you guys were outstanding. You know, really appreciate everybody coming on. It's been an amazing 2 years. You know, going through this. Looking forward to many more. But not. Hopefully this case wraps up in a nice conclusion, and hopefully it doesn't end in settlement. Why? Because Chip and I have a stake riding on it. So we want a decision, and Mr. B and Coiny 203 will be bringing us to Burn Steakhouse for a beautiful steak. So
big steak. Jeremy, I have to jump and get in on that because he's close by. Right. So I have to
close by. So, but anyhow, yeah, it's been great. Appreciate everybody coming on, man. It's been outstanding. John Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, XRPP, the artist, formerly known as Crypto Eddie, Oz Crypto, Blockchain Backer, JamesRuleXRP, and of course everybody that's in here watching us. Chip, we've got the best and the brightest in all of crypto space, crypto YouTube space, tuning in here with us 3 days a week, and all of these other amazing YouTubers that are on with us tonight. Man, it's phenomenal.
There it is right there. There's the money shot right there.
It is.
John Deaton.
Let's show off those shirts.
We gotta
go.
Opens it up.
Full screen. Right, stand up. Let's see that shirt. Look at that sweater.
Ho 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 hodl.
Ho ho hodl XRP. That's great. And then John Deaton right there. Let's see that XRP shirt.
There we go, baby.
It's like superheroes right here.
Yeah, superheroes brought the shirts too, man. Right? Gotta love it. Okay, guys, that's it. We're gonna get out of here, guys. We love you. Let's go into 2023. Positive vibes, positive energy. Thank you all for being here tonight. If you guys want to hang out after this, we can. We'll see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff and the rest of the cast of characters. See you guys. That was the wrong thing, Jeff. I hit the wrong thing. Hang on a second. Ready? Are you ready?
Hit again.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.